Welcome to this video on Suzuki's new 2024 GSX S1000GX Plus bike, which I took out and had a play with and thoroughly enjoyed. Last year I took out the S1000GT, which is a sports tourer as well, but it's more focused on the sports aspect of touring, I would suggest. And that's got the K5 999cc 4-stroke water-cooled engine, the same engine as that the GX has got this new sports tourer crossover from Suzuki. So that was something that appealed to me. That's because that's my type of riding, long distance touring, along with the fact that it's got loads of electronics, this new GX, and also a semi-active suspension, electronic suspension from Suzuki. Let's get into the bike and see what it's all about. So the new 2024 GSX S1000GX from Suzuki has been designed still with dynamic sports performance in mind, with its K5 proven 999cc 4-stroke liquid cooled inline 4-cylinder engine, the same engine you'll find in Suzuki's sports tourer, the similar named GSX S1000GT. But slap on taller handlebars, an upright sitting position, a thicker seat, new bodywork, new electronic suspension with more suspension travel, and an arm full of driver aids, and you'll get this. A sports crossover still with dynamic sports performance, but now with long distance capability and comfort. This bike has more new electronic gadgetry than any other Suzuki bike that's been produced, and I'll come on to all of those driver aids shortly. The GX on the road price here in the UK is £14,799. The GX Plus means you'll get the hand luggage thrown in for an extra £1,100, and the hard panniers have 26 litres of space per case with a maximum of 6 kilograms weight and are lockable. Colours come in metallic Triton blue, pearl matte shadow green or glass sparkle black. The seat height is 845mm or 33.3 inches. You can get a low seat option that costs an extra £100 and it lowers the seat an extra 15mm, taking it to 830mm. There's also a premium seat with more padding that costs an extra £335. Fuel tank is 19 litres or 5 US gallons. Suzuki quote 45 miles per gallon. The curb weight means it's got 80% fuel and all the fluids are on board, and the weight is 232 kilograms, that's 511 pounds. Now with 152 PS and 106 newton meters of torque, I love some of the words Motorcycle News used to describe this power unit. Angry, grunt laden, loud and proud with a screaming exhaust note, a deep airbox growl and a voracious appetite for revs. Now just a fraction over 3 seconds will get you to 60 miles an hour, and there's a top speed of 134 miles an hour. It's 6-speed chain driven with a multi-directional gear shifter, and it comes with cruise control. The GX has new shower forks and a rear shock which have got some semi-active damping and automatic preload. Twin spar aluminium frame, twin disc with Brembo brakes at the front, and a single disc with a Niffin brake at the rear. We have 17-inch road focused 6-spoke aluminium wheels and a Dunlop Sport Max Road Sport 2 tyre. 120/70 at the front and a fat 190/50 at the rear. Now the seat is 15mm thicker than on the GT and is also wider and tapered to provide freedom of movement. The pillion seat is also 10mm thicker and 26mm wider. The front aerodynamics have been designed to reduce rider fatigue on long journeys and exposure to the cold. The windshield doesn't adjust on the fly, which is disappointing, but there's knuckle covers and a layered design to the front cowling which reduce air pressure and buffeting to the head. Also adding to rider comfort are the floating handlebars and rubber footrests to reduce vibration. The handlebars are 55mm closer to the rider and 50mm wider than on the GT, allowing for a more upright position. The extended suspension travel and new seat design also lengthen the distance between the rider's hip point by 15mm, reducing knee bend. So we have all-round LED lighting and indicators. The front lighting is interesting, a pair of hexagonal LED headlights flanked by surface-emitting LED position lights with an upswept angle and narrow slit design. Looks a bit like an angry face, doesn't it? Now there's lots of add-ons in terms of billet packs, decaling and billet parts. I suggest checking the accessories section on the Suzuki website, where building your bike as ever, that will bump the price up a bit more. am getting a little bit of buffet on my head. I'm 5'9". The windshield is in its lowest setting, so you could actually raise that 3 settings high or another 2 settings higher. Here at 70, I'm going to put the so the cruise control switch is here on the right. So you press that, and then the increments are on the left. Yeah, but motorway speeds, highway speeds, yeah, it's quite good. There's a tiny little bit of vibration in the wing mirrors, but nothing major. The mirrors are quite good, I would say. I know this K5 1000 engine is a beast, but let's see what she performs like. I'm going to do a brake test at the end. Straight up to 60, no problem at all. I'm not going to go any quicker than that, and then we'll do a brake test here. Yeah, I think those brakes are really good. Yeah, this engine is exhilarating. I've only got it on B mode at the minute, but you can put it onto a sportier mode and you can have some fun on the twisters for sure. It is really exhilarating, and those brakes, I mean, I got up to 60 there, and I put some breakage on, more or less an emergency stop. It's had some criticism in terms of its wooden sort of like application of the brake, but the brakes are good. It's just the transition from pulling the handbrake to getting it onto the brakes. But once I got to the end of that sort of pulling the brake, it came to a stop quite quickly. Very, very good. So I'm just riding in and around a village and little towns in Leicestershire. It's not heavy at all. It's quite manageable. It's you can throw it around dead easily around traffic. You can just feel that engine purring, saying it wants to go. It's not comfortable just ambling on at 20-30 mile an hour. It wants to get on those twisties and have some fun. But it's important to say, obviously it's a crossover sports tourer, so there are going to be times when you are just ambling through nice scenic places, trying to enjoy the view, and that's the beauty of this crossover, because you're sitting higher up. The ergonomics on the bike is that the handlebars are wider, they're closer to you, so you're not leaning forward in that sports position, and the handlebar grips are thicker as well, so it's just a comfortable seating position. Actually, the seat's quite comfortable. I've been on about an hour so far. Okay, I'm not going to be able to test it in terms of long distance touring. If anybody's got one of these bikes, please put a comment down in the section below. How have you got on with long distance touring on this on the GX, and the seat and the comfortability of it and fatigue, etc. And your fuel consumption, how have you got on with the fuel consumption? Just going over these speed bumps, so the suspension is quite good. Obviously Suzuki's now got this SAES system, the automatic suspension. Just going down these bumps, so it handles those nice and easily. Obviously there's so many different variations of settings that you can put it on with all those options, but generally the suspension is really good, I would say. Really comfortable. And this is where it comes into its own when you hit those national speed limits, which means we can go 60 on these back roads. Very nice. And for me, the GX suits me better. Obviously it's each one to their own and it's subjective, but for me, I mean, I ride a GS 1250, so this sitting up position just suits me a lot more. If you obviously want to go for that sport aspect of a bike, then obviously the GT is going to be the bike for you. But if you want to have a little bit more comfort in this sat upright position, then the GX is definitely the preferable bike. These quick shifters, I mean, it's a bi-directional quick shifter on this GX. I think generally you could say with bikes these days, the bike comes with a manual clutch, because the gear shifters are so good, and this one on the Suzuki GX is butterly smooth. Now I did notice the first gear, so when you start it up and you're in neutral and then you you plonk it into first gear, there was a bit of a jolt and a bit of a clunk. But once you're going, you know, up through the gears, down through the gears, it's butterly smooth, dead easy to use. 6.5 inch full colour TFT display. This is scratch resistant, anti-reflective, and is viewable in night and day or with a black and white screen. As you'd expect, you can connect your smartphone via the Suzuki My Spin app, and there's a USB socket on the left side of the screen. The app has 5 bundled apps which are developed for motorcycles. The screen is mirrored on the cluster's TFT screen and can be accessed via the switches on the left handlebar when accessing features and content, or to change settings while riding. But it's important to remember this is the first Suzuki bike to have semi-active suspension, so it's got tons of electronics, bells and whistles on it. So let's get into electronics. So as you know, the GX is a sports tourer crossover. It's the first Suzuki bike to adopt a semi-active suspension called SAES, Suzuki Advanced Electronic Suspension. But the bike comes with a lot more tech too, which Suzuki call the Suzuki Intelligent Ride System, or SAES. So you can choose from the integrated ride settings or individual settings to suit your level of experience, riding style and the conditions. So starting off with those riding aids, here's the first one, SDMS Alpha Power Mode. This provides 3 riding modes, A, B and C, so a sport focus, a road focus, and then one for more challenging conditions such as wet riding conditions. SDMS Alpha Smart TLR Control. So this is a traction control system, STCS. It's got an integrated lift limiter and roll torque control. Enables you to better control the bike under diverse and varying conditions. SDMS Alpha Active Damping Control. Here you can choose between soft, medium and hard, and customizable via a switch on the handlebar to select the spring reload settings. Suzuki Road Adaptive Stabilisation. This activates to help smooth out the ride when riding on cobblestones or uneven surfaces. Selectable automatic rear suspension modes. This is another electronic control over the spring preload settings, which means you can use a handlebar switch to change them quickly and easily to match your needs. Bi-directional quick shift system. The clutchless gear shifter helps with rider fatigue, along with the cruise control, which doesn't have to be reset when quick shifting. Motion track brake system. Via the IMU assists the ABS while braking through corners. Slope control system. This prevents rear wheel lift by monitoring the angle of the inclination and providing stable braking on slopes. I just want to say thank you to Castledines, South Wigston, Leicestershire. It's a family business. Adam inherited it from his father Clive. Top man is Adam. If you want to know anything about Suzukis, then he's your man. So a big shout out to Castledines in Wigston and Leicestershire. So with the heated grips, they're not on the bike. You have to pay an extra £100 for those. I just thought Suzuki could have had the bike as standard with those already fitted on the bike. So there's no heated seat at all. I just thought that would have been a nice additional extra, even paying for that luxury of a heated seat. So the windshield can't be moved up or down whilst on the fly. When you think of all the tech that's on the bike, and Suzuki's not come up with some sort of device just to be able to turn the windshield up or down whilst riding, I think that's a big negative. So here in the UK, the GX Plus model is the GX with the panniers. That's next to £1,100. But there's no top box. I just thought Suzuki could have come up with a matching top box to go with the panniers, the complete system, have that option even as an additional extra. But the fact there's no top box, you've got to go to outsource it to an aftermarket product company, somebody like Givi. If you've got one of these bikes, where did you get your top box from? Can you make any recommendations? So I just thought Suzuki could have come up with a complete luggage system. £470, nearly £500 for a centre stand. Why is it so much? And also, when you see the shots of the Suzuki banking over, leaning it, there's not much clearance. You think if you put a centre stand there, it's going to scrape on the tarmac, surely, if you look at the pictures. But yeah, £470, that's a lot of money for a centre stand. Why? These are just minor niggles, no big issues really, but it's not a keyless ride, so you need to put the key in to get it started up. You can't just keep it in your pocket and press the button. The levers can't be extended or shortened to match your pinky sizes. Be nice to be able to adjust those so you can move them in or out. No self-cancelling indicators. You need to make sure you knock your indicators off. The stubby exhaust, it's a bit, well, it's stubby and a bit ugly really. Maybe could have come up with something a little bit more beautiful. Now I did see one comment from somebody that was considering selling his GX bike because of two things, the lighting and the panniers. He found it very awkward to lift the panniers off, especially when they're full. And I did find it a little bit awkward, but I think it might just be a case of getting used to that method of taking them off. But regards to the lighting, he said the lighting was very poor when he rode the bike at night. Now, if you've got one of these bikes, what is the lighting like at night? Is it poor? The lights at the front are very small. But yeah, I'd be interested to know. Drop a comment in the comment section down below. So moving on to the positives with the GX bike, it's a sports tour crossover, so it's got the best of both worlds. And one side of that crossover is its engine, its 999cc inline 4 power plant, which is over the years has been responsible for multiple AMA Superbike championships. So you know you've got all that power under the seat. And it's notable, I would say, in between the mid to high rev ranges where it just seems to come alive even more. It's an exhilarating experience, that power plant, when you want to push it. You can take it on a track day and have some great fun on the bike. So when you're in a sporty mode, that bike's got all the potential to go and have some fun on the twisties. So the other side of the crossover is the fact that it's adaptable for long distance touring. It's effectively gone from a GT to a GX. So that GT has just been adapted into a touring bike. So you've got the comfortable seat, the handlebar arrangement has all been changed to move it towards the rider. There's an upright sitting position, you've got the cruise control, the quick shifter, and all the electronic aids. So it's adapted now to a long distance touring bike as well. So that's the other side of the crossover, which is great. So the third reason is Suzuki introduces its Advanced Electronic Suspension for the first time on its bike. So as a variety of rider settings can be changed whilst riding the bike on the TFT. So along with the electronic suspension, Suzuki have thrown a host of other electronic aids at the bike to make it easier and more exciting to ride. So number 5, I think the bike looks a nice bike. What do you think? Drop a comment down below. Yeah, the exhaust could have been changed a little bit to make it a little bit more attractive, but other than that, I think it's a nice looking bike. And the last positive, Suzuki give a 3-year warranty, but you can extend that up to 7 years or 70,000 miles if you continue to get your bike serviced with them periodically. So that's great service from Suzuki. I would say the build of the bike is quite good. Obviously Suzuki have been building bikes for decades. So in summing up, I would say if you're looking for a bike that's got sports-like performance and the added bonus of long distance touring, then the Suzuki GSX S1000GX Plus is the bike for you. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, that really helps support the channel. Subscribe if you like the content, and the bell notification will let you know when another video has been released. Okay, take care for now, ride safe, see you soon. Bye bye for now.